What's going on, Yinzers? Welcome into the Ken Wregget and Friends show. We've got another extra special episode for you today. And hey, listen, if you haven't watched the previous episodes of this show, where the heck have you been? What have you been doing? Just a few weeks ago, we had former Pens GM Craig Patrick on the program. He orchestrated the last 3 decades of successful Penguins hockey. Of course, we've had Joey Mullen, the first U.S.-born player to score 500 goals. We've had other shows as well, Ryan Malone, Jean-Sebastian Aubin. So please check those out right here on this channel. My name is Mike Nicastro. You can find me on Twitter at MikeDepSports1. Of course, I'm the co-founder of YinzerCrazy.com. And his name is Ken Wregget. He's another former Stanley Cup champion goalie with the Penguins. And Ken, today we have the same thing, a Stanley Cup goaltending champion with the Penguins on the program.
We do. We're fortunate enough to have Wendell Young join us today. Wendell was one of the goaltenders that was here when I got traded here from Philadelphia. He himself had came across the state from Philadelphia. He and I actually played hockey back in Nova Scotia together growing up when we were 10, 12 years old in tournaments and stuff. Super guy, big part of 2 Stanley Cups here in Pittsburgh, and we're lucky to have him.
We're also lucky to have you, obviously, and we're all lucky in Western Pennsylvania to have 31 Sports Bar and Grill over there in Bridgeville, PA. It's a great spot for great food, good beverages, cold beer, and hey, they might even run into you, right, and have some hockey conversation.
They could do that, yeah. I've been popping in usually around happy hour on a Friday to say hi. We have a magazine out on Bitch Attendee, which features specifically goaltenders. Come on out and check out one of them. We have great food specials. We have local bands happening. And we have a nice, warm, comfortable staff that love to greet you and take care of you for the night. So please stop by.
Yeah, I want to shout out Nicole on this show. She's a huge part of what we do. We haven't really talked about her enough. Ken, she's just the best, right?
I can't say enough good things about Nicole. She's a big reason I'm here right now. And she's has a heart of gold. She'd do anything for anybody. And if you all have it in you, please come down and just say hi to her. We won't be disappointed. She's just a wonderful person. Very lucky to have her. Thank you.
Sounds great. And you won't be disappointed of this episode of the Ken Wregget and Friends show. We are ready to go ahead and bring him in. It's Wendell Young, another former goaltender for the Pittsburgh Penguins right here on the Ken Wregget and Friends show. And welcome back in to another episode of the Ken Wregget and Friends show, of course, brought to you by YinzerCrazy.com, as well as the 31 Sports Bar and Grill. Make sure you check them out over in Bridgeville, PA. They always have weekly specials, good appetizers on tap, Yinglings on Saturday on special. And of course, you might even run into Ken Wregget himself, a guy that ran into Ken Wregget a handful of times, more than a handful of times, I should say. He is Wendell Young. Wendell is the ringmaster. We'll get to why they call him that in a few minutes. He's currently in his 13th season as general manager with the Chicago Wolves. You probably know him best as a Stanley Cup champion with the Pittsburgh Penguins. Wendell, how are you today, man? Thanks for joining us.
I'm doing great. Great seeing Regs again. It's awesome touching base with the old friends and goalie partners.
Ken, we were talking about nicknames a couple weeks ago when we had Joey on and a few others, and we were like, we don't have a nickname for Ken. Why didn't you just say, hey, everybody call me Regs? I think it's the first time we heard that.
I've been called a number of different things, and I don't know if any one specific is sticks. But yeah, probably Regs would be a good one. Yeah, thank you.
Should we use a censorship if you want to name a couple of the other nicknames? No. We could bleep it out. No,
that's for after hours. Yeah.
That's for going to the bar. Right there.
Yeah, that's you're right. After 5
goalie union, that's goalie union stuff, Mike. You don't want to touch that.
Yeah, well, exactly. I was just going to ask. I mean, listen, I got 2 goalies back on the show. We had this a few weeks ago when Jean-Sebastian Aubin joined. Yeah. Tell me about this goalie bond, man. This thing seems to last for life, Kenny. I'll start with you and maintaining this relationship with a guy like Wendell all these years.
Yeah, Wendell's very special. Again, to me, in the sense I came here in '92, trade deadline, pretty much. And they won the cup, the Pittsburgh Penguins, with Wendell and Frankie and Tommy the year before. And then all of a sudden, Philadelphia trades me here to Pittsburgh. And so now one of 4 goaltenders, and Wendell's one of them. And and just a great guy to get to know. And he kind of, brought me through the ropes and taught me the way along the way. And it's been great knowing him. And a lot of people don't know, and we're trying to figure it out a little bit ourselves. But my dad was in the Canadian Air Force, and we played hockey in a tournament or two together back in Nova Scotia. And this goes back to the 70s now. So we're very honored, Wendell, to have you on board, and thank you very much.
I appreciate it. Yeah, Kenny came over from Philadelphia, and there's a notion that if a goalie comes in, he's taking your spot, but I never felt that way. Even though Kenny did take my spot, but he came in. Let's be honest, Kenny has a way better resume than I have. But he came in, and we brought the guys that came over into our group. We knew they were going to help our team and be a big part of our team. And I always feel a goalie sits in a different spot than everyone else. There's a different mindset. Where a lot of times we're on an island by ourselves, and sometimes goalies with other goalies make each other feel like not wanted. But that's not the way like I would run. Being a goalie, I embrace goalies. Like, we have the same messed up mentality, I think, and a little weird. You got to remember, we sit in net and have a puck shot at us going 100 miles an hour. We're not playing dodgeball. So it's a different mindset. And Regs, we're all messed up. I think Regs is just a little more messed up than the rest of us.
There it is. Point for Wendell right there. Yeah, the goalie bond obviously is strong. I mean, you could obviously tell as a fan and consumer, just the way a team reacts at the end of the game when they all go pat whoever it is on the head and give them hugs after a W. Almost just showing how grateful they are for a guy sitting back there and taking slap shots to the dome, like you said. Wendell, speaking of camaraderie and keeping all the teams together, we just had Joey Mullen on a couple weeks ago. You got to talk to us a little bit more about this hospitality suite, man. We keep hearing this word come up with you guys. You guys were in charge of maintaining a little bit of that Penguins bond in the early 90s, right?
Yeah, it's became its own little legend story. The room, it just started with we're on the road in the playoffs. After every road game, you have to come back to our room, and we co-hosted. I wasn't playing, so I was out getting beer. I was putting it on ice, and got to the point where I knew what drinks guys wanted, and I had the room all set up. And so it was kind of after post-game meal, everyone would come back and have a drink. We'd hang out to be card games. So it was just a bonding situation where we could just relax and not worry about anything, any outside noise. And we hung out, and then it became mandatory. And, some guys weren't drinking. I'd have non-alcoholic beer in there. If guys weren't, some of the guys weren't drinking during the playoffs. So it became a thing where everyone kind of hung out and hung out late. And later, there was nights when there was 3 beers left, and it was me, Joey Mullen, and Mario. And I finally had to say, Mario, finish your beer. I got to get up in the morning. I got to go practice. So it became something. I remember one night in the playoffs, the next morning, a bunch of the coaches and players saying, "Hey, Scotty Bowman's looking for you." And I'm like, "What's up?" And he goes, "He's mad at you." And I go, "For what?" And he goes, "Your room, the noise." And I'm like, so I see Scotty, and he's all stern at me. He's mad. He goes, "Security called me at 1. They called me at 1:30, called me at 2, called me at 2:30. And he goes, I go, "It's not me, Scotty. It wasn't me." He goes, "Well, what room you in?" And I told him my room, and he goes, "Well, that's the room." I said, "It wasn't me." He goes, "How would it be? How can it not be you?" I go, "I wasn't home yet." I said, I was there later, but I wasn't home yet. And he goes, "What do you mean everyone goes to your room?" And I told him what the premise of the thing, everyone comes back and has beers. If you go out, you still have to always check in and have a beer in the hospitality room. And he goes, "You do that every time on the road?" I said, "Yeah." He goes, "That is awesome." So, all the guys are waiting to see how much trouble I'm going to get into. And I go up, and they're going, they're going, "How much trouble you in? You got fined, you're this, you're all that." And I go, "No, I told Scotty, here's the way it is, and here's what I'm doing, and don't ever bug me again." And they're like, "Yeah, right. How much trouble?" Scotty walks by, and he just kind of pats me. He goes, "Hey, good talk, Wendell. I hope things are good today," or something like this. And they're like, "What just happened?" Scotty's the most stern guy, and he's like, but Scotty figured it out, and he realized like it was a good thing, really good thing for the team and that's that off ice bonding that we talk about.
That's amazing. I figured you were going to get to the part where Scotty is like, I'm mad you just didn't invite me.
Yeah. Like Scotty, as stern as Scotty was, like he realized what team was. He knew what buttons to push and manipulate, and when to lay off. And I think he realized like he was all about team. And in the bottom line, it was about team. And he realized that was a big bringing the team together. And I was talking about the teams. We were probably closer off ice than we were on ice.
Wow. I'd love to hear that Mario was shutting down the bar for what it's worth too. Kenny, when Joey was on, you guys used to talk about him going to your place, right? And partying after you pick him up at the airport or whatever, or after a game.
Yeah.
So did goalies just throw the best parties? Is that what it is?
Well, I wasn't here at 31. I didn't obviously own that at that point. But yeah, Joey and I and EJ would travel together, and EJ would be the guy who would say, "Why didn't you invite me?" type of thing. Scotty was the guy, and I'm going to defend Wendell a little bit here and how important that was. And this is me coming from Pittsburgh or from Philadelphia to Pittsburgh. And going into playoffs that year, when I'm sure you don't remember, but we were like a week left, and like 5 points out of not making the playoffs, and I'm kind of panicked at that point. And I talked to my agent, like here I am, one of 4 goalies, and I just don't see what's going on, and we're 5 points out of playoffs. How do I make plans? And he said, maybe this is the difference between a team having confidence and not having confidence. And I came from Philadelphia. Philadelphia, they don't do anything but everything to win, and that's the bottom line. And that's why they are a good team. They've done that with the Broad Street Bullies. So coming over into this situation again, being involved with Wendell and what Wendell brought to the team in that position, like I may have helped out with the net a little bit, and that was basically a little bit. But these guys did that the year before, and to see an all-star team perform through the playoffs, and that was Scotty Bowman. Remember we talked about with Joey changing the goalies around every 5 minutes type of thing.
You guys had a 17-man rotation, right?
Right. So it's the same thing, and the importance goes back to probably the NHL and the train days, traveling across the country on the train, and how important bonding was and getting people together. And Wendell was a guy who drove around on the buses with what movie in your backpack, Slapshot. And whenever things got tough, Wendell would pull that out. Wendell was always there for us, and he kept the teams together. We lost games. We won series 4 games in a row, but the times we were down 3-1, he was there and he brought everybody together. And Scotty recognized that and how important that was. So it was, for me coming into that situation, it was kind of unique. And Wendell was definitely key. All those times, it was for a good reason. He was a big reason why we did what we did.
I appreciate those kind words. I wasn't stopping a lot of pucks, so I was trying to help the team in some aspect. And I think being as best a team guy as you could, and if you're not contributing on ice, contribute off ice, and that's what I felt as trying to be a good teammate. And boys, don't worry about the Bears. I'll have them nice and cold after the game. Don't have that on your mind. Go score some goals.
That's right.
Well, listen, you guys were obviously much more than just some booze and some late night music. You obviously played through thick and thin, won a lot. Wendell, I was reading a story about you dislocating your shoulder, trying to stop the great one, Wayne Gretzky, and later going on to hoist the cup with a dislocated shoulder and saying, hey, even if your shoulder was falling off, you still would have hoisted that cup. Just talk about your success a little bit, man. I 2 Stanley Cups with the Pens. You have 2 Turner Cups, IHL, which is now UHL, and then a Calder Cup and a Memorial Cup. We call Pittsburgh Sixburg a lot, but you're 6 man over here, if you will. What does all that mean to you, man? If you could just try and sum it up a little bit.
I'm very fortunate. I realize I'm very fortunate. I'm very lucky to be in the right place at the right time. That's a big part of it. I literally should be buying lottery tickets because I think I'm in the right place. Again, just being fortunate. I think some of the championships I've been a part of, I contributed on ice. I was actually the goalie playing, winning a championship. Other ones, as we've just talked about, I try to contribute in other ways. Anything for the team basically is, I just wanted to win. I love winning. I hate losing. Like my whole life, I'd even like let my kids win in card games and stuff. It bugged me because I always want to win. But I just feel I contribute in some way to every championship. And, if it's not on ice, it's off ice. Winning the Stanley Cup, that's the ultimate for any hockey player. And it brought a lot of, I guess, validation, whatever you want to call it, that all the hard work you put in and all your dreams and everything can come true. And, through all the hard work and trying to do everything right and contributing in some way. And again, there's a lot of great hockey players that have played in the NHL that have never been able to lift the Stanley Cup. And, there was almost a sense of guilt that I was doing it and not them, but being on a great team. And if I know you guys have talked about this before, but look at how many Hall of Famers have been on, the 91, 92 Stanley Cup team. It's crazy. Someone pointed out to me way after the fact, and you don't realize it when you're in the middle of it, but when you sit back and start looking at the names that was on the team, it's crazy to think of that team.
Yeah, you said earlier that Kenny has a better resume, and I was going to jump in and say, hey, listen, man, you got 6 rings, and Kenny just has 6 onion rings in front of him right now, I think. No, listen, the onion rings at 31 Sports Bar and Grill. You know what? Maybe they speak for themselves, right, Kenny?
Thank you very much, Mike. Yes, they do.
Hey, you guys are both. Too. Yeah, but everything's good. Everything's good. I was just going to say, you guys obviously were both traded from the Flyers to the Penguins, it was really unique. And Ken, I would say that you guys are responsible for that Flyers curse effect that's taking place now, right?
Well, that's an interesting way to look at it. Yeah, I never quite looked at it like that. But yeah, the Flyers, Pittsburgh, and it's funny. Wendell and I came over from there, and then you even have Ron Hextall at this point.
Right.
And back with goalies, we were commenting on goalies earlier, and and Wendell, you're a GM. You should. What you think of this is a good question for you. But I always felt, other than you have a Lemieux or player like that up front, but the goaltender is one of the most, if not the most important guy on your team. So the fact that you do see goalies moving around isn't very often. And, the nostalgia of across Pennsylvania is kind of cool too. And we all love that. But yeah, the goalies are a special breed, definitely.
Well, Ken, if I came up to you, sorry, Wendell, to jump in. If I came up to you and said, hey, listen, tell me a few things about Wendell Young. Before this interview, if somebody came up to you on the street, what would your response be?
My response would be I played hockey against Wendell back when I was 12 years old, and I came to Pittsburgh from Philadelphia, and he was my goaltender partner, and he showed me the ropes along the way, and he made a comment earlier today about and I was in the same boat. Maybe I was the guy not playing as well, and I was there, and I did a lot of talking with Wendell in those rooms, and just the personality. I'm not trying to blow smoke here, but just the personality he has. He's very grateful, very fortunate, very blessed. He looks at buying a lottery ticket, and he goes out there with such a great attitude that he brings everybody with him, type of thing. And there's times in people's lives you need that. You need a person like that to help bring you through, especially when you're going through ups and downs like that. So what would I say about Wendell? He's one of the nicest guys in the world you ever meet, and he'll help you bring you where you want to go. He's a super person.
I'm telling you, I got to come on this podcast more often to get built up like that. It's just unbelievable. Seriously, I don't know if I'm going to fit through the door. My head's going to be bigger than it is. It's unbelievable. But also. I left for Tampa for a couple of years. I got picked up in expansion. I came back during the lockout year, and I came back, and me and Regs, Tom Barrasso had surgery on his hand, and I came back, and I came back when Regs in the middle of a long winning streak to start the season, and I came back from the Chicago Wolves, where I'm GM now, and came back, and so we were partners during that time. I actually blame Regs for. I probably got a less of a lung capacity right now because I got a lot of secondhand smoke because I'd have to go between periods and after games. I don't smoke, but I'd have to stand there and shoot the shit with Regs while he was having a dart.
Oh, that's terrific. Hey, let's transition into the Wolves before we let you go. Obviously, you've been a GM for 13 years. You mentioned that. Top minor league affiliate there of the Carolina Hurricanes. You guys lead the AHL in points right now, correct?
We're right up there. We're depending on the day. I couldn't even tell you.
Depending on the day. And listen,
Close.
The Hurricanes obviously are playing exceptional hockey, have most points in the Eastern Conference. You're a big part of that culture and foundation. Talk about how, you've helped instill that.
Well, we being an affiliate, we are at the beckon of the top team, like the Pittsburgh Penguins, or in our case, it's the Carolina Hurricanes. We provide depth for them, and we provide an avenue for development of their prospects. So we set a culture here, and any NHL team that's been affiliated with us, they appreciate what our view is. We try to win, and we try to win and develop at the same time. We're not just only about winning, and we're not only just about development. We try to do both, and I really do think they can go hand in hand. If you teach guys how to win, they're going to get better. And if you win, that culture, when they get up to the big time, that culture is already there. So that's what we try to instill. We treat our players unbelievable here. We're known as one of the top AHL organizations to play for, because we look after our players. We provide them everything they need to succeed. And we're nothing makes us happier as an organization to see a player go to the NHL. And that's what our goal is. And that's been it from day one. That starts from ownership. We want to win, and we want to develop at the same time. And that's why players want to come and play for the Chicago Wolves.
Been a winner everywhere you've been. So certainly, not always just a lottery ticket, but if you do buy a ticket, let us know if we can get in a third each on that. And hey, if you have a goalie go down with an injury, you ever think about calling Ken?
You know what? One weekend I went through 8 goalies through injuries and COVID and call-ups, and I literally was looking around. I had a guy that never played any competitive hockey, and I had to get him from his regular job to go get a pair of skates because he coached. He had to go get his skates at the rink, and he was almost my starter in a game one weekend. This was 4 or 5 weeks ago. Yeah, it was crazy. So now I've thought about. I actually got asked if I would ever go in goal in need, and I said not a chance in hell. I'm past that. I actually have never put the equipment back on since my last day of pro hockey.
Ken, have you?
No. Yeah, it's somehow it's not as easy bending over the side of the skates. It just tightens up a little bit, I think.
No, it's so many goalies are like that. Like once it's over, it's over. And as much as we loved the game so much and being a goalie so much, there comes a point where there's a fine line between bravery and stupidity. You're standing a goal, getting a puck shot at you 100 miles an hour, and the puck's hurt, and all this stuff. And I'm like, I'm not sure if I was brave or stupid. I really don't know. And, you're standing there, and once it's over, it's almost a relief that as much as we love hockey, and I still love hockey, and I'm still, involved in hockey, but I am so happy I don't have to have a puck shot at me 100 miles an hour.
Well, it's a good thing you didn't, jump in net when you guys needed a goalie there. It sounds like the Scotty Bowman rotation for the Penguins back in the 90s. A little bit there, Ken, right? Hey, listen. Has Kenny
spoke about the goalie rotation in New
York?
You
know what? I think we talked about it with, was it with Craig?
Was it Craig or Joey?
I think it was Joey. Joey.
Yeah.
You're right.
But I'm telling you, if you have Wendell's version of this, you'll love it.
I mean, you could give us more on it. I think the 7-man rotation, obviously it's an exaggeration. I hope nobody's like they really rotated, but maybe it's not that big of an exaggeration.
Well, I don't know what was said, but here's my story of it. No, Scotty came in and said, okay, the game didn't mean anything to us. We're at Madison Square Garden. This game didn't mean anything. Scotty comes in, says, Regs, you're starting. 5 minutes later, Wendell, you're going in, and we're changing every 5 minutes. Now, this has never been heard of in hockey, but that's being Scotty, Scotty Bowman being himself. He always wanted to be an innovator and something different. And I go, and I actually said, I said, Scotty, I thought you were messed up, but you just substantiated you're a messed up coach. Like, seriously, like, enough. So all the guys were laughing. I'm like, hey, you know what? I'm going to tell you what, you guys are all yapping. Me and Regs are going to change on the fly. And they're like, no way. I go, we'll put some money up. Like, stop yapping, put some money in the middle of the table here. Put some money up. Bunch of guys put money up. That's fine. We take warm up. Scotty comes in after warm up, says, hey, you guys remember you're changing every 5 minutes, and they're yapping again, the players. I go, you know what? Regs and I are going to high five and low five, and I'm going to moonwalk back to the crease. And they're like, no way. I go, we'll put some money up. Like, come on, put some money up. It's got to happen. So the way the game went, it didn't go well. I don't know. I think we end up losing like 7-1. It's a third period. And in Madison Square Gardens, I don't know what it's like now, but the bench went really deep. It was almost at the hash marks. It, like, where the extra goalie sat, it was almost like deep into the zone. And we're going down. I think Joey Mullen actually had the puck going down the ice, going the other way. I jump over the boards. I'm yelling at Regs. Of course, the noise, he can't hear me. I'm yelling. And all of a sudden he sees him, and I go to high five and low five, and I look up, and here comes Messier with the puck coming down on a 3-on-1. We had too many men on the ice, and there would have been too many men for too many goalies on the ice, because Regs and I were like, I think we went to high five in the circle. That's how bad it was. And get to the net. Anyway, Messier threw the puck over. I just kind of knocked it down or whatever the play was. But if you see the video, Regs is in goal, and the play goes up, and then the play comes down with Messier with the puck, and I'm in goal. I don't think anybody's ever had the video of us changing. It's just the play's still going on, and the goalies are different in the one end. And I know on the bench, I know when I was told, Reg said, suck on that, guys. Like, we did it. And I think Kevin Stevens or somebody said, no, you guys didn't, because they were watching the play at the other end. And Scotty Bowman, I guess, was adamant. They did it. Like, he wanted to be the coach of us changing on the fly.
Yeah. Of all people to carry the puck too, Mark Messier. Ken, didn't you fall over the boards or something?
Yeah, I mean, that's why I thought Wendell would tell a better story, because he had his heads up, was watching what was going on. I had my head down. He was going, Regs. I looked up. We had the puck in the corner, debatable kind of.
Yeah.
I buried my head and I just went. And I got caught on the boards at some point, but I understand Wendell made a great save.
Yeah.
I get now that it's out there, I get people asking me about that more than Stanley Cups or anything.
Really?
Like, people ask about now that it's kind of, because it's been like a hidden secret for
30 years.
30 years. Like, and all of a sudden I don't know where it's gaining some life here, but people are asking me about it. And all of a sudden people are going, hey, I saw this on YouTube. And like, I'm like, what? And they're going, yeah, you guys changing. And I'm like, yeah, that's an old story. Because it's funny. It's like, I became a better goalie as I retired. the longer I've been retired, the better goalie I've been.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're selling yourself short. At least you've reached cult classic status, as you said before. And no wonder Scotty wasn't invited to those parties, I guess. He's making you rotate out every 3 minutes now. It sounds like a blast. You certainly instilled a great culture. And hey, listen, proof is in the pudding, like they say, right? I don't know if you guys are serving pudding, Ken, at 31 Sports Bar and Grill. Maybe throw that on the menu. Wendell, it's been a pleasure, man. Thanks so much for jumping on. It's so much fun. Hopefully you can get out of the door there, like you said before. Your head doesn't blow up too big. But no, just kidding. It's always obviously well-deserved and justified. So thanks for joining us, man.
Guys, I appreciate it. Always great catching up, and always feels good to feel about and talk about those great memories we've had.
Yeah, thank you, Wendell, very much. Awesome.
YinzerCrazy. This is it right here. YinzerCrazy. So pit, oh yeah. YinzerCrazy. This is it right here. YinzerCrazy. I know YinzerCrazy, but so am I. #1 sports site in the burg. Let me show you why. The latest stories in unbeatable podcast with your favorite